it's me, Robin, with Simple Food, Simple Life. How are you today? I am pretty good. It's kind of dreary and cold and snowy. And I want some soup, so I'm going to make some soup. I was out earlier, I got my driveway cleaned off. I got the front area by the front door all cleaned off. And I've been doing some chores around the house. And I decided that I want some soup today. So I went down in the pantry and I looked around and came up with a few things I'm going to throw together, and I'm going to make some soup. Now let me show you what I found. I found some cooked, chunked up beef in the freezer, so I'm going to use that. I found a carton of beef broth. I have a jar of canned parsnips that my daughter gave me, and she canned these. They grew these actually. So I'm going to use a few of these, not the whole jar, but some. I'm going to use a can of diced tomatoes, just plain old tomatoes, some canned peas, canned corn, whole potatoes, some green beans, and some carrots. I am also going to use the canning liquid in my soup. I've got some garlic from the fridge. I have part of an onion, a whole onion, and I have part of a head of cabbage. So I'm going to use that. I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough broth, so I'll probably make up some bouillon cubes to give me a couple of extra cups of liquid. We will see how that goes if I need it. I may not need it. Let me see what else. I think that's it so far. Probably just salt and pepper. These are actually, I don't have any other fresh vegetables. I don't have any celery or anything like that. So if you don't have those things, you can always go to your pantry and use canned goods. There's nothing wrong with canned goods. They're perfectly fine. They are canned at the peak of freshness, so you don't have to worry about that, that's for sure. And there's a lot of nutrients in the canning liquid. So I'm going to take advantage of that. All right, so let's get to making some soup. Okay, I've added some beef fat to this pan, and I've been warming up the pieces of beef. Now, it was frozen when I put it in there. So I'm going to put some garlic in here. And I'm going to put in some cabbage that I chopped, some onion. I used half of the onion and the piece of onion that I found in the refrigerator. I cut up some, those canned potatoes were whole, so I cut them up. And I'm just going to put those in with the meat. And that is, I had 1/2 of a cabbage, and so I used half of that. I didn't use all the cabbage. Okay. That all stewed up in here. crank up the heat a little bit. I'm going to put some salt in. And let's put in some cracked black pepper. I like pepper. So good. Okay. Now then, I did reserve the canning liquid off of the potatoes, by the way. I'm going to add that to the soup as well. I did not dump that down the sink. Getting those onions started. And the cabbage as well, because those are raw. Everything else is cooked. So in goes the can of tomatoes. I like to put the tomatoes in early and let the vegetables saute with this good tomato flavor. I think it adds a lot to the soup. I brought up a can of tomato sauce the other day, which I did not use, so I'm going to use that today. Just to bring a little more richness. To bring a little more richness to the soup. Did you get any snow where you live? We didn't get a lot of snow, but it was very wet. Very wet snow. I was glad we didn't get a lot. I suppose there was about a couple of inches out there. I'm going to reach in the jar here of the parsnips, and I'm going to put in a few parsnips. Give them a little mash. Do you ever eat parsnips? I think sometimes that's something we don't think about eating. Parsnips used to be very popular, just like turnips. In some places they still are, but I think sometimes we get stuck in a rut and we forget about certain vegetables. Parsnips are related to carrots, by the way. They have a nice close relationship with carrots. So, I'm going to add the beef broth, and then I will add the vegetables. I'll give it a taste. If I think it needs more liquid, I'll go in with some chicken bouillon. That would be nice. When you make soup this way, you don't need to simmer it for hours and hours. It can actually be ready to eat very quickly. I love the fact that this has got some nice vegetables in it. I think that is Looks so beautiful. So I'm going to get this back up to the boil, and then I'm going to add in my canned vegetables. Alright, everything is in there, all the ingredients I showed you. And I added 3 chicken bouillon cubes for some extra flavor. You can see one of them there. And it will dissolve as the soup cooks. Now I'm going to bring this back up to a boil. I'm going to let it, then take it down to a simmer. Put the lid on and just let it simmer so that all the flavors are combined. The parsnips will add a little bit of sweetness to the soup. The tomatoes will add that little bit of acidity. And then, of course, the onions and the cabbage. All the other vegetables will do their work. If you don't have beef, you can use chicken, you can use any kind of ground meat you want. You can use a ground sausage, ground beef, ground turkey, whatever you like. You're only limited by your imagination or your ingredients. Now, if you don't have meat, then by all means add a can of beans to your soup. That is beautiful as well. I've had to do that many times in order to get some kind of protein in the soup. So we do what we must. Now then, the bouillon will add some salt to the soup. It's coming up to a boil. I'm going to turn the heat back down on it after it comes to the boil. I'm going to put the lid on and let it simmer. Oh, I would say probably for about 30 minutes. I want the cabbage to be done, and of course the onions to be done. And we'll give it a taste at that point and see if it needs anything else. Okie doke, my soup is done. Doesn't it look delicious? Now I want to recommend to you, when you do bring up your canned goods, especially like mine are in the basement, wipe them off, wipe the cans off, especially if they've been stored for a while. Make sure you wipe the tops off before you open them. I'm going to dish up some of this soup for myself, and if I can find the ladle, and then I'm going to put the rest in some canning jars to keep in the refrigerator. There it is. And I have my canning jars over here. So I'm just going to fill these up because, as you can see, I have made a lot of soup. And if I need more jars, I can have them. I'll just have to run downstairs and get some more. Let me grab a spoon. I'm going to taste this. It's very hot. Hot, hot, hot. That's really, really good. There's a slight sweetness to it because of the turnips, but it's just a nice balance for the tomatoes and the cabbage. Really delicious. I could add a little more salt to this, but I'm not going to. It's plenty salty for some. If I want more salt, I will just add some when I serve it up. All right, that is it. Soup day here at Simple Food, Simple Life. I hope you guys get something from this. This is just a way to make a nice big pot of soup very inexpensively. You can make the soup your own, put whatever ingredients you want to put in there. It's entirely up to you. It just makes a good wholesome pot of soup that anybody would absolutely love. Now, if you want, dish up a cup of soup and have a toasted cheese sandwich, maybe a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, have some cornbread. Honestly, it's just whatever you want to do. It's fine, but depending on the amount of people you're feeding, you can eat for many days off of this wonderful, wholesome soup. Okay? All right. I love you guys. That's it for me today. I really appreciate your being here. Please share this if you think that someone else can get something from it. That would be great. All right? Okay. I love ya. And as always, little is much when God is in it. And I will see you later. Bye-bye.